Hey everybody, Mike Naso here from IPR with the latest tropical video update. Here's Atlantic hurricane frequencies based on climatology, and we know last year climatology got thrown out the window. But nevertheless, August 20th, we're just about there, and you can see we should be on an upward peak, which we clearly are. And then from here on out until September 10th, the peak of hurricane season, we should have increased activity, and we'll continue to be very high. And then we'll kind of drop off and then have a secondary peak in October. This season appears to be more climatologically favorable than last. Looking out there now, there's Invest 93L off the southeast coast. Basically a depression, but it cannot be classified as one until those winds get stronger. Not out of the realm of possibility to become a storm or a depression or a storm, but it probably won't do that. Models still not sure where to take it. Notice this upper level low out here, shearing anything coming from the central Atlantic. We keep getting them dropping off here. We got to get rid of them before we get development. And there's Hurricane Hector, which I think could become a major hurricane maybe by tonight. Here's Invest 93L. You can see the little circulation you can kind of see around us right in here. And it's not looking all that well organized. Got a lot of shear heading towards it, but you can see the models either taken into Georgia or northeast Florida. One takes it into Texas, and one takes into two taken into South Carolina. So at this time, it doesn't look favorable, but it's still something we got to watch. Notice this upper low out here, again shearing, wave coming in the central Atlantic. This is interesting. The only real unfavorable factors for it, there are two unfavorable factors. One, it has this upper level low in here, so if it does try and get in front of it, it's which it is, it's going to get sheared. It has a lot of dry air as well in front of it, so I don't think anything's going to happen with that right now. Wave moving off Africa, pretty decent, but unbelievable if you ask the GFS. I mean, this is a decent looking wave. I mean, clearly a low pressure area with it. Probably move off a little bit further south than the other ones, which could aid in development. Now, the area around it is moist, so it has a lot of moisture to work with, but if you ask the GFS, boy, does it develop it. You can see more behind it, which may also aid in future development. But here's the GFS, 24 hours, okay? Here we go, 24 hours it moves off the coast. There's Invest 93L kind of fading away. Nothing else really out in the tropics. You can see high pressure built in. Notice what happens. By 72 hours, we're starting to get some outflow with it. It's starting to look good. Hey, it's on the way to becoming a depression or a storm, right? Well, by 96, 126 days out, the conditions look a little less favorable for it. It looks like it's having trouble organizing. But everything changes significantly by 204 hours when the system gets pulled a little bit northward and starts to get into a better environment just northeast of the Lesser Antilles. Now, you see this a lot with hurricanes. Say, remember Hurricane Andrew curved back west. You had Hurricane Floyd pull it, Hurricane Isabel. And what happens typically, Francis, remember, is that you'll have a hurricane out here that's moving westward, and it'll start pulling north. Now, sometimes they curve out, usually a trough pulling. Sometimes it misses the connection, and the ridge builds back in and pushes the system west. So instead of pulling on out or continuing west, it pulls up and then continues west, and gets pushed under a ridge of high pressure and typically strengthens as it moves westward. And that's clearly what the GFS shows by 216 hours. The environment, you can see by 288, is getting so favorable with this outflow looking impressive, and you clearly have a powerful hurricane by this time and then a major hurricane by 384 hours bearing down on the southeast coast of the United States. This is by September 2nd, though. A lot of time to watch it, but what's interesting is that the wave moves off now, and we have 6 days until it gets here, and then it slowly moves this way, and then starts to move, and then slowly move. So 6 days from now, it should be progressed across the Atlantic. There's a good chance, though, that this may never become a storm until it gets near the islands, if at all, that it may just stay a weak wave across. 144 hours doesn't show our system, which would be in here, but it does show this area in the southwest Caribbean merging with the wave moving through and kind of becoming a system for Louisiana. MM5 120, there's our system right there in the central Atlantic. 144 NOGAPS doesn't show the system moving off Africa, but shows another wave starting to develop in about 6 days off Africa. And then the UK Met shows our system in here weak, approaching the southern windwards. So, interesting to note there, the GFS long range. Always take it with a grain of salt, but this has been two model rows in a run, two model runs in a row, two model rows in a run, and it did good with Chris, dissipating it, even when it looked like Chris was about to become a hurricane. So that's good. If anything wants to develop out there, has some low wind shear in front of it and dry and lack of dry air, but we'll see if that will happen or not. Man, I mean, notice this. I mean, you have this wave in here, and it's trying to fan out, right? But you have this huge upper level low in here that's basically shearing anything in front of it, and that is our problem right there. If we are ever going to get development of anything coming out of the central Atlantic, these upper level lows are going to have to stop dropping off. Although typically a major hurricane is accompanied by an upper level low. Here's Hurricane Hector, 85 miles an hour as of 11. The Hurricane Center has it reaching 90. My personal opinion is that it's already a Category 2 hurricane, probably about 105 miles an hour right now. So I'm giving a call at 5 p.m. I think this is going to be 90 knots. I may be mistaken. Either way, notice this tightening eye looking very impressive. Although if you look at the dry air around it, starting to intrude, but notice how it's kind of pushing out here. It's starting to fan out a little more. This could, I wouldn't be surprised to see this bottom out to a Category 3, even a Category 4 hurricane if it can strengthen rapidly. If it tries to strengthen steadily, it's not going to make Category 4 and probably not 3, but I think it is already a 2. So that's my opinion on it. And you can see, yeah, this is definitely a coiled up system right here. But notice these clouds out here. This is cooler water. Hector headed right for it. So what the heck, Hector? You know, at least it's out in the middle of nowhere. Tropical storm Wukon tried to strengthen up to 50 miles an hour. It's moving northwest at 5. It's tried to strengthen just as it made landfall, and it's going to head straight across southern Japan into South Korea. And you can see the imagery there. Clearly, this system was on its way to strengthen as it was coiled up. But again, just getting so far north that, you know, and impacting land that it doesn't look all that impressive over southern Japan. Nothing behind it, miraculously, in the western Pacific as the favorable phase of the Madden-Julian oscillation moves out and head towards the Atlantic. I'm Mike Naso. I'll see you next time.